Good evening. I'm John Bailey, and this is People to be Heard, the program where people who have something to say have their say. Tonight, you've got Christine Ricci, CEO and founder of the Ricci team at Keller Williams Real Estate in White Plains, New York, and Stephen Scarnati of Keller Williams Realty. Welcome to the program, folks, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Right. And they are here to tell us, homeowners and home buyers, about the year 2017 in real estate in White Plains. And right now, what is, Miss Ricci, you've been a native of Westchester County and you have 20 years of experience in real estate in Westchester and run a real estate team of 18. And Stephen, you are from Mayapack, familiar and specialize in towns all over the county in luxury real estate, apartment rentals, and co-ops. And I'd like to ask, first of all, what is the state of White Plains real estate environment going into the next 6 months? Single homes, condos, co-ops?
Well, yeah, we're expecting a market shift to occur. Buyers are going to start rejecting, driving up the prices of homes and bidding wars.
Mm-hmm. And?
So pretty much the real estate market in White Plains is actually quite high. Mm-hmm. So we have the different areas, the highlands, the havelands, and home prices. I mean, anything between 400,000 to 800,000 is getting multiple bids. Mm-hmm. There's more buyers than we have inventory. We had an inventory low that we've seen across the county in specific price points. Mm-hmm. So White Plains inventory is about 3 months of inventory, which pretty much the market states that anything under 6 months is a seller's market.
Mm-hmm. So this also means what is more on the market? Single family homes or more co-ops?
I mean, pretty much all of our inventory is low. So we're seeing an influx of, we don't have enough condominiums for people that are downsizing. Mm-hmm. Our co-op market has definitely increased over the last year in terms of the number of buyers seeking that market because there's more of them, and that's also at an all-time low of inventory. So we're seeing a combination. There's really, it's low inventory in every sector.
Mm-hmm. Now, we had a good 2017 in White Plains. How good was it?
Yeah, prices were up across the board for single-family homes, condos, co-ops.
What was the percentage?
The percentage? The medium single-family price for White Plains was $652 for single-family homes.
Yeah, we have a slide for that, but you have a single-family home slide. And what is driving this? There it is, right there.
Yeah, it's the lack of inventory.
Yeah.
That is driving up the prices right now.
Mm-hmm. Lack of inventory. Actually, that's the condo. But so take a look at condos there. The prices have gone up considerably over the year in condos.
Yes.
And what do you attribute that to? Again, lack of inventory. Right?
Well, definitely. I mean, I believe that there's a lot of first-time home buyers that that are not finding, the single-family home that they like, so they're opting just to be a home buyer. Mm-hmm. So, and then we also have a lot of our large home sellers that are looking to downsize. So that's also an influx into the condominium market. And I believe both of those sectors really want the walkability. So they're kind of battling the market to get into that condominium walkability market.
Mm-hmm. Walkability mean close to a train station?
Close to train, close to shops, just something that they don't have to get in their car, to get a gallon of milk or to buy eggs. Right now, a lot of the single-family homes, they're removed from downtown areas. Mm-hmm. So we're just finding that both of those markets coming in really they both like that. They want that walkability. They don't want to give that up.
Now,
one wants it, and the other one doesn't want to give it up.
Are these mostly younger people, or
it's a combination?
It is. Yeah. So it's not just a millennial.
No, not at all.
Lemmings to the suburbs thing.
We're seeing baby boomers right now. We're seeing a lot of that market. Mm-hmm. They're really attracted to the same kind of amenities that the millennials are looking for. Mm-hmm. So they both want that easy lifestyle. Looks like a lot of people want a simplified life. They don't want the big mansions anymore. They want a smaller home with more amenities and closer to the city.
Mm-hmm. Now, White Plains is expecting up to 5,000 new apartment rentals to be built over the next 5 to 6 years. Are rentals affecting the housing market?
might actually give baby boomers an incentive to sell their homes to find an affordable option to move in White Plains.
Sell their homes in the city or outside of White Plains and Westchester?
Both.
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 Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
You're seeing an uptick of that?
We think that might happen.
That you think?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know the rental market
Yeah.
quite well. I mean, I started in real estate just with rentals. I mean, we haven't had a new building, and even condominium-wise, the last new condominium structure was the Ritz, Tower 2, 5 Renaissance. And now, you know, we're finally, hopefully, going to see some of that change. And we haven't had a lot of new rentals. The last one was Bank Street. Now we have a few more new ones.
Yeah, and we have the new 55 Bank Street that
Yeah.
is supposedly that opened to a few new renters just those last
Yeah, the
couple
continuum.
weeks.
Yeah. I see
So-
that as an advantage, by the way, because
It is.
although the price ranges, it all depends on how they launch, but it's allowing some of the homeowners that still want to keep the lifestyle and stay in the county, the ability to have an option to bridge their sale into a rental versus another home. So it's going to open up the market, I believe, and instead of a lot of our younger folks wanting to go to Stanford, which has over 5,000 new apartment buildings
Already?
there. Oh yeah, they built
Already?
out that whole
I
city.
see.
They're way ahead of White Plains.
Yeah, they're competing against us.
It's so
Is that
exciting.
right?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's exciting to see White Plains get some new inventory.
Well, it's going to be a while before that happens, though, but because none of the others have started except for the small
Yeah.
ones. But
It's refreshing to the market.
will. Do you think that it will
Yeah.
be? It will. The demand will be there, and
I
when
do.
these come in.
I do.
So you only see it going up.
I
What
mean,
is driving that? Is it people coming up from the city because of?
well, Brooklyn
the
and
expense down
certain
there?
parts of Manhattan. I mean, it's unaffordable. I mean, the rent prices have gone up, but they're actually down a little bit now. But there's been a big influx of rebuilding, of reallocation, of taking older buildings and making them condos and rentals. But they're outpricing a lot of these families and these young professionals out of the market. And they still want accessibility to Manhattan and White Plains. You're 35 minutes, it's a Grand Central on an express.
Right.
So it's
Ideal.
gonna make it very very approachable, and it's gonna really open up. I mean, I think White Plains is not even at the peak of its growth.
And you feel that even though I, as a resident of White Plains, moan about steady increase in school taxes every year, and this is the year they will probably have to raise them because of the pension problem that the comptroller just announced. Oh, by the way, we didn't do too well.
Right.
So, but be that as it may, do you think our taxes are still going to be appeal relatives to the other cities that we're competing with?
I do.
You do.
Yeah, I really do. I think White Plains, I mean, we have other towns in the Westchester that have fairly good taxes as well. But I think White Plains still by far, I mean, even Stanford taxes are not, they're pretty parallel to White Plains. So we're neck and neck with them.
The school
Yeah,
taxes.
school taxes, yeah.
right.
I mean, you can't compare
Wasn't
Greenwich,
aware.
obviously, because price points in Greenwich are much higher, but taxes are lower.
Right.
But,
Well, Greenwich, I mean, nobody looks at the prices
Yeah.
at Greenwich because they can afford them.
Of course.
Right. Exactly.
But city to city, I think I think White Plains really still has a lot going for it. It's still a lot of growth opportunity.
Do you think it is critical that commuter capacity be increased on the MTA to handle?
Yeah.
You
I
do.
think that's, I do,
There
yeah.
was a report just this week in the Westchester
sure.
County Business Journal about that. So what does one do if the railroad gets too overcrowded?
Well,
You have to add
maybe
cars.
we have Uber flying cars.
Maybe so.
Well, maybe so.
Now, Stephen, you had mentioned that before we went on the program, that the up-county towns are suffering.
Yeah, because as Christine mentioned, no one's looking for that acre of land anymore. They want to be close to the city, and prices over $700,000.
Yeah.
Very slow right now.
Very slow, even in horse country.
Yeah,
Yes.
yup, in horse country.
Yes, absolutely. So this means demand supposedly should go up for White Plains particularly, since it's probably the most livable of the 6 cities.
Yep. Oh, for sure. And just a perfect example is we have a home that went on the market in the Highlands and White Plains for $659, and we had about 7 offers on it. And we have a home in North Salem in a beautiful community on an acre, double the size home, and we've had to reduce the price from 800 down to 750, and we still don't have any offers. And you would think that one would want to go more north to get more house. They're looking for a neighborhood. They're looking for that accessibility. So White Plains right now, I mean, days on market is very, very low in terms of even selling the homes from ask price. They're getting, what's the percentage?
We see bidding wars?
Yeah, a lot of bidding wars, highest and best offer situations. Days on market has decreased by, days on market for White Plains is 63 days, down about.
And it's really a
Yeah.
big improvement. That's
Yeah.
evidence that the demand is strong, at least right now.
between 5 to 7. Once you get over 7, it starts to get a little tricky.
So
Yeah.
our county is driven by price points, right? So every price point has a different effect on the market. So your $2 million home in White Plains, or if there are any, 1.5 million, they are still selling, but the days on market there are much longer. So anything again in that sweet spot, which is that average sales price between 600 and 675, is selling pretty aggressively. Anything over that, less eyes on the home, but we're still getting the showings.
It's been something I've been talking about a long time on the White Plains Week Show, and that is outstanding student loans hurting persons in their 20s and 30s. Do you see this a factor, or if you've managed things right, it's not a problem? Is it a problem?
Well,
I mean, people are having trouble saving money for the down payment. That's a big issue. But you have new loans now where you could put down 3.5%, 5%. So, I mean, I feel you still do have a healthy number of first-time buyers, but yeah, there is a drop-off.
the student loan factor definitely affects their ratios, the credibility ratios for them, affordability. And now we're starting to see a lot more of our buyers putting down that 5% again, which raises a red flag, right? Because you always want that 10, 20% down, if not more.
So that was my next question,
yeah.
whether they've lowered their requirements.
We're starting
And
to
they
see a
have,
lot
from
of
what
that.
you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting to
I know
see the 3.5 to 5 starting to show up a little bit more in
On
the last
30
6
years?
months. On 30 years.
That is a heavy burden.
And I think too, the risk factor that they don't want to move their money out of some of their plans, and now these programs are coming back, so it's starting to to show that.
And the banking authorities are okay with this, since
mean,
that's
they're-
what got us into trouble a few years ago.
I believe that their requirements are still pretty strict in terms of showing, financials. So it's not that you don't have money in the bank. So they're requiring still the same level.
About 20%
Yeah,
down.
but it doesn't mean they have to use it. So they're saving the money because interest rates are still very good. So they have the money. They're just not willing to put it down.
Well, that's an interesting insight.
Yeah.
Yes, husbanding the cash and willing to. So they're like the government.
Yeah,
All right.
like everything else.
Exactly. So the banks are not a problem then.
No, we're
So
seeing-
it's now co-ops have shown a great price increase. If we have the co-op slide, and they've gone up from about 170. Well, why don't you explain it, Steve?
Yeah.
On co-ops.
Well,
Yeah,
also-
co-ops have gone up to $180,000 this year.
The average sales
Average
price
sales price.
in White Plains.
Yes.
Right. Now, who buys the co-op? What type of
It's really a
Just
little bit of
custom.
everyone. It's,
We're-
baby boomers downsizing, millennials.
We're seeing a
Yeah.
lot of, just recently as well, in the last 4 to 6 months, we're seeing a lot of children buying the co-ops for the parents, the aging parent. So we're seeing more of that, which that hasn't been that common in the past, but we are seeing that.
is that like a house swap?
It is.
Children get the big house and the
Well,
parents get the co-op?
The parents
Doesn't
are
seem right.
selling the bigger
Yeah.
homes that
Yeah.
they can't afford anymore. They can't afford the taxes, the maintenance of maintaining a home that's aging, that's going to require more work over time. So, and the condominium sector is getting expensive. So, your next best form of ownership, which is really shares, is a co-op. You still feel like you own it. You just own shares, but you don't feel that way. And what it's doing, it's allowing, again, that safe harbor for the children to have something affordable for the parents to live in.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of that, too.
Now, Keller Williams can work out certain advisories for people coming and seeking a home, showing the advantages of all three,
Oh, of
or
course,
disadvantages.
Yeah, we're really big into consulting our clients, we walk them through the process. We want to make sure they understand every sector of the market and what works best for them. So we do a lot of, our approach is more consulting versus selling. We believe that everybody should be educated and see what works for them.
So along those lines then, is the ability to deduct state and local taxes and mortgage costs from the federal income tax is made law, which they're discussing this week, and who knows how long. How do you see that affecting the housing market around Westchester?
Westchester already has very high taxes, so any kind of reduction would be really, would be helpful, because we have one of the highest taxes in the country. It's going to affect it. We don't really know exactly what's going to be passed, but one of the most critical things of home ownership is to be able to deduct that. So it's a benefit. So if that benefit has been taken away, we may see that a lot of people may not see that benefit anymore. They don't see it as wow, home ownership. It's not as motivating.
Motivation to own.
So we're hoping that, we can't really tell yet because it's so early in on the process, but we're hoping that it won't pass because we believe that one of the highest perks is for that deduction.
Well, of course the property taxes that the county legislature is all of a sudden making popular. They are interpreting this vote that they received last week, taking over the county executive spot in 2 seats, as well. People want to spend more on government. It shows that any result can be interpreted any way that you want it to. But is White Plains getting as many people moving in to replace those who are moving out?
I think so. Steve works with a lot of our buyers, and when we put a home on the market, we have calls coming in. We do open houses on the weekends. You get about anywhere from 10 families that are coming in. We're seeing a pretty big number of people still wanting to live here, and one of the reasons is the taxes. Because if they decide even to use the public schools,
low taxes, I want, not the high.
The low taxes, yes.
Yeah, the low taxes, not the high taxes.
And they really like the accessibility. It's the most central city in the county, so that's very that's a benefit to them. And they could go either direction with the taxes. They could either do public schools or private schools. It gives them the ability to choose the direction that they want. So that I see White Plains, a tremendous eye-catching area still for buyers, for sure.
Is being a realtor a lot tougher than it was 7 or 8 years ago? It's a totally different job, isn't it?
Well, I'm 2 years in now, so.
Yeah.
So a 20-year veteran and a 2-year. So in my opinion, it has changed a lot. Even from 2 years ago, the response time, the information that's available to the buyer. All sectors of the market want that to be effective immediately. So everything has changed in real estate. We're learning every day. We're very educational based, but we have to learn a new method of selling every day.
What are some of those new methods?
Well, you have to definitely know all your statistics, your days on the market. You have to know the different areas, not just White Plains. What is the competing city? What is that city doing? Knowing Connecticut, knowing all these areas surrounding. So knowing your inventory is key. You also have to know who's buying. So knowing what your buyer's needs are, what's important, how to break it down, how to take all the areas in the county and see what's the best fit. And that's all on a consulting basis. You have to explain and educate the different processes and the different loans available. And what we do really well is we create a team in a team. We have our real estate team, and then we have our team within the team, which is our attorneys, our lenders, our home inspectors. And they all help benefit the buyers, and they want that. They want that hand-holding concierge service, and they want it today, now, immediately. Very entitled.
Yes, when I was buying a house, I mean, someone would just recommend a lawyer.
Right.
And, but it's different now, I guess.
And what we're seeing the most education is the home seller that hasn't sold a home in 10, 20 years. Like, they don't understand who the buyers are, how they're looking for homes. So we're doing a lot of hand-holding there.
Yeah.
Our bridging market is huge right now. I don't want to sell because I don't know where to go and I haven't done this. How do you help us? So we're doing a lot of hand-holding to make sure that the process is stress-free.
So if you're selling a house, what should you do to make it attractive, and what things you should not do are not going and what things you could do are not going to make a difference?
Right.
I mean, decluttering would be the biggest thing. Buyers will spot that out right away.
Yes.
Walking into a home. And then if you have any pets, make sure that's taken care of, nice and clean. You don't want a bad scent when you walk into a
This
home.
is hitting close to home.
Oh, okay.
Colors too, by the way. So we really, I mean, some of our homeowners are spending well over, between $5,000 and $10,000, not to recoup the money, just to prepare the home to put it on the market. There, we have our stagers that work with our homeowners, so they help them declutter, depersonalize, neutralize paint colors, neutralize odors. I mean, we've had people buyers walk in a home, not like the odor, and leave.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's everything's really sensitive. And you have to be, even showing a home, you have to do it with such a way that you can create the vision, because there's no vision in showing homes. Like, everybody just sees a room and does not know what to do with it. So we're also doing that as well. And the outside is important too. Painting, curb appeal, flowers if it's the springtime, just really, again, it's like a facelift. Like when you sell your car, you get it detailed, right? Before you sell it.
I just keep my car.
Right, you're kind of like, when you sell your car, you get it all nice and done for the new buyer. Same thing with the home. You have to kind of keep the same mentality.
Yes. Can you comment on the apartment rental and office space retail market in White Plains?
Well, definitely.
We have various conflicting reports as to, retail is terrible, but then others say it's good.
Well, it all depends where. I mean, up and down Mamaroneck Avenue, you see a lot of restaurants in and out. I mean, I still believe that we have a lot to offer here. We are seeing, I see a lot of vacancies on the retail side. I mean, you go down Post Road, where the old mall, White Plains Mall used to be. I mean, that's all vacant there right now. I know they're doing a new rental building there, and they're planning on some other retail. I think retail, we need places to go, not just a restaurant. We need lounges. We need to bring that up. Hotels. Again, we need to drive people to stay here and not just eat and leave. So I think they have a pretty good pulse on that. And our rentals, I think our rentals are great. I mean, once again, I think the only part of the rental market that one has to look at is the investor side. With all the new rental buildings coming in, you're going to, as an owner of an apartment, you're going to have much more competition than you did in the past. So I would definitely, as an investor, just make sure that you are keeping your apartment up to par in terms of its cosmetics, so you can compete with the new inventory.
Do you see prices on these rentals being out of reach? On 2 bedrooms?
We put apartments on the market, so a one bedroom going for $2,200 to $2,400. We get about 25 calls on one ad that we post. So that's pretty good. That's a good number.
Right. So that you feel they could raise the prices a little more without a problem, like to the $3,000 mark.
That may be out of reach.
It might be. So you have that little niche that $3,000 is sort of out of reach of what the renters are looking for.
It's going to depend on the amenities that are offered. If the new amenities that these renters are requiring, if that's built in, the dog parks and the dog walking and all of those things that people want, the Wi-Fi, they're looking for that experience in the living space and the amenities. If that's built in, we're finding that people will pay for it just like a home. You know, they'll.
If you like it, you take it.
That's correct.
Right.
And today more so, even in the housing, we're finding that our buyers are not willing to do the work. They don't want to take the time. They're very time sensitive. They'd rather spend more money and have it done than take the time and go through the process.
turnkey.
That's what we're seeing, turnkey.
Turnkey.
And we're going to
see.
see that in the rental market too.
Right. So 2017 was by far the best buyer year White Plains has had since what, 07?
07, yes.
Right. So therefore, what's your prediction for 2018? Is this going to continue or make this gradual progress the way it is?
Well, we're expecting a market shift to occur. Buyers are going to start rejecting driving up the prices in bidding wars. So we think prices will start to level off in the 500 to 700 range.
I mean,
Well, that would be nice for the middle
yeah. I mean,
space, huh?
we're going to start, we don't know what the shift is going to look like. Like obviously 7, 8 years ago, we knew the shift was all of our banking industry, the financial institutions. So that was really clear of what happened there. That's pretty stable right now. So obviously we're seeing a lot more debt, you know, within the country. So that's definitely something that's being looked at. But I also think it's going to be the mentality battle. The buyers are not going to want to pay. The sellers are getting, I don't want to say greedy, but they're getting comfortable with the price increases. And when we start seeing a buyer saying, I'm going to wait, that's a sign right there. And we're starting to see that. I think and another sign of a market shift in our investor pool is your non-educated investors starting to buy and flip homes and not know how to buy them right and not know how to flip them right, which means it's going to hurt the real investor that is leveling off and keeping the market stable.
Right.
So those are all signs of a shifting market.
Well, Christine Ricci and Steve Scarnati, you have been heard on Real Estate in White Plains, New York, USA. John Bailey saying thank you for being with us and good night for people to be heard.